Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Voices of the Embodied Leader with Sheina here from the Sacred Seat. I'm so excited to chat today with Carrie. Carrie is a modern mystic and a trauma recovery integration coach, as well as just a beautiful human and someone, as I've shared with you guys along this journey, that has both inspired and challenged me to step into new levels of my own embodiment. And so, welcome, Carrie. Carrie, thank you so much for being here.
I'm so delighted to be here with you, Sheena. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to be part of this. I'm loving your vibe, and I love that you want to do this
Thank
and reach as many women as possible. That's so great.
Yes, absolutely. When I first decided that I wanted to do this project and I really wanted to sink into it, one of the most important pieces for me was the women that I was going to be interviewing. And like I just said, I wanted to handpick and really choose women that have inspired and challenged me along the way in all the most beautiful ways, right? That have helped me step into new and different and more beautiful versions of myself. And we've been integrating for at least a year now. We've been in each other's fields, I think. And it's been such a pleasure to watch you be you and to show up in the ways that you do. And I also see you as someone who knows what she's doing, shows up and does it, but also has this beautiful, like, reserved version of yourself where I feel like I'm like always out there and always expressing. And so that was something about you that really has drawn me in and helped me recognize the parts of myself that are also just for me and just reserved for that
Oh,
specific.
thank you.
Thank you again for being here. I was reviewing some of the things that we had been chatting about previously, and one of the things that caught my eye about how you responded to a question is because it was so different from so many other people's responses, and I loved
Mm.
that, and I had a feeling that there was gonna be some of that in this conversation, so I was like, "Yes, I wanna start there." And one of the things that you had said is that the most important thing, or one of the most important pieces of leadership that you have discovered yourself, is being a really good listener and being able to put yourself in the position of truly being receptive and feeling into that conversation from that way. I was wondering if you could just speak a little bit more on that because it was a unique response, but so powerfully true.
First of all, I'd like to say that I don't think that you're just all over the place. And the only reason that I'm not that way all the time is because I have this brilliant Libra rising that cloaks all of my nonsensicalness. Trust me when I tell you, I am just as much of a clown car opening up as anybody else. But I do think that if you do want to be a leader and a role model to other people, we do have to think about how we come across to others and we do have to have boundaries. So I do try to be reserved, but that's such bullshit. I'm so not reserved. So I want to say that up front. It's just my Libra rising. It's all total bullshit. But it's not bullshit to listen to people. I do think that, I mean, I started my coaching journey in the 12-step program in Al-Anon. I had a partner and his family members that were all horribly addicted to alcohol. And we had a child together and I needed help. So I went to Al-Anon, which is for friends and family members of addicts. And then from there, I went into CoDA, Codependence Anonymous. And then I even did some time in the rooms for sex and love addiction as well, because I had to figure out what was it about me that brought me to that relationship. And that led to then mentorship and sponsorship in those programs. I became a sponsor and a mentor unofficially in Al-Anon, CoDA, and SLAA on the East Coast in the Mid Atlantic. And then that went on to my coaching. But through all of that, I learned from the beginning in those rooms that if you do not listen to people, you will not really know what it is that they need. You cannot figure out a person's deeper why. You cannot help them figure out their deeper why. And you cannot really support people or lead or guide them anywhere unless you know who they really are. You cannot align yourself in leadership with who and what you want to lead unless you know for sure that you're a good fit for those people and that, they're a good fit for you. So the only way to really determine that is to listen, and not just listen the way we listen at a dinner conversation. When I say listen, what I really mean is to deeply attune to another person. And I think that technology has brought us all together in this way that we never would have been brought together without it. Thank God for Aquarius, the heralds of technology. A little bit of an astrology nut, too. But I also think that it separated us in a lot of ways, and it has devalued deep attunement. You can't really deeply attune to someone unless you can see their face and hear their voice, and you can get as close as possible. So I'm not saying that we can't have good communication and good leadership in other ways, but you cannot lead anyone anywhere unless you deeply attune to them. You have to listen. It is so important. Otherwise, it's all about you and where you want to go. And it's not about the people that you're leading. Either go where you want to go by yourself, but if you know you have followers trailing behind you, watching you, modeling their behavior after you, and they're listening to everything that's coming out of your mouth and taking it as gospel, you better listen to everything that comes out of their mouth. That's so important. And listening does not involve devaluing, de emphasizing, or dismissing what people are saying. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to like what they feel or they think or what they say or what they do. Yeah, you can't really lead anybody anywhere unless you really deeply attune and listen, and just keep in mind that it's okay that you don't see their point of view or share their thoughts or feelings. You don't have to, you just have to understand them. You have to understand their deeper why before you lead anybody anywhere. So, listening is the thing. That's my number one piece of advice to anyone that facilitates anything, leads anyone anywhere, is in any kind of a leadership role. You better listen, and listen good, because it's not about you, it's about the people you're leading. That's how I see it, anyways.
That's
I'm not here for glory. I'd make
yeah.
more money if I were here for glory, because it's not about me in my work. It's about you. It's about my client. It's about who I'm leading. I'm not important.
I love and also having such an edge with that sentiment. Obviously, I agree that deep listening and being responsible for the position that you put yourself in, especially when people are, like you said, putting you on a pedestal or really listening and doing their best to attune to your rhythm. But I gotta be honest with you, Carrie, there are definitely things that I'm doing for me, and I'm just excited that people are coming along for the ride with me. And that might just be a manifester thing, but I'm like, I know that if I feel the urge to do this, that there are people that need it. But I love
Don't get me wrong. There's definitely
that.
things I'm doing just for me and only me. And my astrology and my human design, if you look at it more deeply, because in addition to the coaching work I do, I also do spiritual work with people. And my spiritual path and my religion, if you will, my go to is I'm a woman of science, and I align with astronomy and astrology. If I look deeper in my own human design, everything in me wants ego fulfillment and nothing else. So, of course, I'm going for other parts. Like, I'm definitely getting massive ego fulfillments in other parts of my life. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be me. I think we should manifest to fulfill a lot of our own healthy ego, because typically, if we're manifesting and fulfilling our own healthy ego, that usually means we're sharing our gifts with the world. And the reason we're so fucking proud of ourselves in those moments is because we can see the impact it's had on other people. So definitely go for the ego fulfillment, because it usually involves really good things, not just for yourself, but for everybody. And that is a total manifester thing. I'm a manifesting generator. So basically, I want to be you, and I'm just pissed that I'm not. Like, I'm a generator, but that manifests, but I'm not a manifester. So you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
That's the reason why I brought that up is because I was like, here's this beautiful duality here and how it's like already showing up in this conversation, and we can talk about it because
Yeah.
it's okay to have a different view of things or a different way of moving through embodying who it is that we are authentically and showing up for our communities.
And see, if I were to, like, in a leadership position, if I were asked to lead you, I would really want to know that about you. And I really heard you and felt you say that. I really want to do stuff for me. And I'm like, okay, if I were to lead Sheena, I would be leading her to that trough of water that she can drink from that will give her the confidence to keep doing that, because I think good things would come out of that.
Oh, lead me, girl, lead me. I love that you brought up ego.
Mhm.
I got this I think I read it recently. It was very interesting for me and it's been just reserving itself, I think, in the back of my mind. And you just brought that up and I'm like, oh, maybe this is why it's been sitting there to have this kind of deeper conversation. And I feel like you're the
Mm.
perfect person to have it with, which is that the ego and that ego fulfillment is actually like so many people are like, ego death and get rid of your ego, but that's actually the part that helps create that authentic, unique self,
It's what makes us human. It's not
right?
that other animals don't have egos. I think if you observe other animals in the animal kingdom here on Earth, you're gonna see definite displays of ego and power. Primates and dolphins come to mind, but what one of the things that makes us uniquely different as a species on this planet is, well, in case you haven't noticed, we're different from the other animals. We've split the atom, we've left the atmosphere. We're not like the other animals on Earth. We have these giant brains and these very creative minds. And we do think about where do I fit into all of this? What is my place in society? And like when I do IFS parts work, I'm getting certified as a level 2 IFS therapist soon. One of the things we talk about is all the different parts. And something that I do that seems to be a little uniquely different is I acknowledge the part that is the ego. And I do think that there is a point to ego annihilation at different times for in our life, and for especially for specific people, they may need it. I also don't think it's bad or wrong to say be something like a Buddhist monk or a nun, where you cast off all ego fulfillment of any kind and you dedicate your life to a specific path that involves the disillusion of the ego. That's okay. We think we need a little bit of everything. If we don't have variation in the species, we're going to go extinct. We can't all be the same. But I think the ego is so important to acknowledge and not ignore. And rather than call it bad and wrong and annihilate it, I think we should just recognize that it exists and help it find appropriate outlets for healthy fulfillment. If
That's
you are not fulfilling your own ego, you basically feel like shit about yourself. We all want to feel good about ourselves, and we all want to feel like we contributed something of meaning that
mm,
other people care about, that helps other people. And if we have enough healthy, appropriate outlets for healthy ego fulfillment, we're going to feel better about ourselves. We're going to live better, healthier lives. And we have the potential to really help so many people around us. Because again, if healthy ego fulfillment with a capital E means I share my gifts with the world and that benefits others,
mm.
10 out of 10, that's a win win.
Yeah,
That's a win win. So when I'm working with clients, it's like, how are you getting your ego fulfillment? And they're like, did you just say ego? I'm like, yes, I did. I did say that 3-letter dirty word. And by the end of working with me, you're not going to feel bad about saying it anymore. I want you to feel good about fulfilling your ego. I'm very big into that.
I love that and that connection to it's about the healthy expression.
Yes.
It's a part of ourself just like all the other parts, which are essentially all looking for the most healthy and fulfilling expression. And yeah, I love thank you for speaking on that and sharing how it weaves into the work you do and shedding a little bit of light because I think the ego is really misunderstood a lot of time.
Very much. And it's always painted a bad guy. And like I said, like I mentioned my own astrology and human design. When I first saw all of that in my astrology and human design, that I am pretty much compelled to anything I'm drawn towards, it's through healthy ego fulfillment. The first thing I thought was, great, I'm designed to be a selfish narcissist. And I rejected it. And then I thought, that can't be true. The universe would not have made me this way. You have the potential, any of us have the potential to turn into a darker form of ourselves, but I had to radically accept it and honor it and then figure out how to make that work for me. Some of us are designed to seek more of it than others. So if you're designed to seek it, I think you should. It
Mhm.
will just lead to more authenticity. I became my more authentic self when I recognized that virtually all the channels in my human design were basically saying, yeah, you're not going to be interested unless this makes you feel good about yourself. And I was like, how do I take that to the highest expression and honor it?
Yeah.
I had to learn how. And ironically, it wasn't entirely through my work. Yeah. I wouldn't say that I don't get ego fulfillment out of my work. I do, but in a more private way, in a quiet way. I seek that bigger ego, healthy ego fulfillment in different ways. And then I have a few areas of my life that are just for me to shine. I'm just doing it to shine. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I had to find the appropriate outlets. So once I found my appropriate outlets, I just put it all there. And then a different time, different parts of my life where I felt like maybe it should be a little bit less about me and my own fulfillment and more about someone else's, then I'll back off.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. There's this little voice inside me that's like, what do you do to feed your ego, Carrie Lee? What do you do? How do you hit that scratch? But we'll leave that. We'll let you hold on to that one. We don't need to share with the world.
So simple. I can tell it to you really
Oh my
easily.
God, please share.
Close your eyes and imagine yourself like doing something that makes you feel really good about yourself. What is that thing? You don't have to share it, but what is that thing? And then think about how can I sincerely, honestly make that happen in reality? It's really that simple. What
Beautiful.
makes you feel good about yourself?
Wow. Totally just had a clear vision. Anybody out there who's watching, pause it, do exactly what she just said, see what comes
It's
up.
not rocket science. Just
Yeah.
start from there. The Neptunian dream. Neptune tells us to dream, and then Saturn lassos it and says, let's make it happen in reality.
Yes, speaking of Saturn, there's a big shift in the way that Saturn's going to be moving through the collective just before this goes out. We're going to have a whole new expression of Saturn, but I feel like that's for another conversation. But it does
Yeah,
touch
don't even get
on,
me going on
I
the
know, like,
astrology.
we need like
God.
a whole series if we're going to be going down that road. But it does bring me around to the next thing that I would love to talk to you about, which is this title of modern mystic. And you already stated that you're rooted in science and that you follow astronomy and astrology, which is such a beautiful brew of science and spirituality. It's like this, it's where it converges. And I see that
First time I ever saw the face of God was not in church. It was in a physics class and an astronomy class that I failed miserably my sophomore year in college, but I did see God in that class. So to me, like science is religion.
I love that piece, and I know that we've had conversations in the past of how do we inform people that there is different sides to spirituality, that there is different expressions, and that there is a way of having a spiritually led life that's rooted in scientific knowing or scientific truths or what's actually been proven, and really sharing that with the greater public. We've talked about what that might look like and how that could manifest into something to teach people. And
And
so,
that goes all into mysticism,
yeah.
my modern interpretation of it itself. So we're talking about two things at once. Let me see my perimenopause brain. I'm going to try really hard to keep it all together here, but you
Mhm,
might have to edit this because
mhm.
I'm wordy.
I love your words.
My speech and debate teacher is rolling over in his grave somewhere. I talk too much. Okay, calling myself a modern mystic is actually a very new thing for me, and I didn't come up with it on my own. I was watching Richard Grannon a few weeks ago, and Richard can be really mouthy and bitey, and he goes off the rails sometimes. But just when I'm ready to write him off because he's a little too edgy and harsh, I remind myself that I'm edgy and harsh a lot too. And he said something that just made me go, oh, Richard, I love you for that. And I know that he inspired a lot of people when he said it. he talked about what he believed being a modern mystic is. And when I heard him say it, I was like, yes. To be a mystic means that you accept mystery. I accept the mystery of life. And I think part of being a spiritual person and also overcoming a lot of religious and spiritual trauma that I had in childhood and then in adulthood, and then some that I even faced in the New Age community several years ago. Like, one of the big problems humans have is that we think that we have to have it all figured out and that we have to know. We have to know what's going to happen an hour from now. We have to know what's going to happen. What's going to happen 2 days from now, a year from now. I notice a lot of people that have come to me for tarot readings in the last 30 years. I tease them. I'm like, you're stalking yourself. What do you mean? I'm like, you're stalking yourself. Why can't you just wait until next Wednesday to hear how that job interview goes? But I have to know. I have to know right now. I've done over 10,000 private one-on-one tarot readings just in the last decade alone. And what I'm here to tell you is you don't have to know. You don't have to know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't have to know what's out there. You don't have to 100% know what God is or what spirit is. It's okay to live in a bit of mystery. I think so much of our mental health issues and our emotional issues and our neuroses and our preoccupations and our anxiety is based on this liminal intensity and this inability to radically accept the fact that you have to create the future before you demand to know what it is. You cannot create life backwards from the final chapter back to your chapter. That's not how time is linear in the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is time and space itself. And we're human beings and we're 3D beings and we only experience ourselves moving forward. So we have to let go of the past and and recognize that it's up to us to create our future in our present moment without being so fucking angst out and preoccupied by it. So to me, being a modern mystic simply means I accept quite a bit of mystery in life and I'm not so wound up about tomorrow. It doesn't mean I don't care about tomorrow or next year. Of course I do. I just know that I can only manifest it from here. So that's what I really mean about being a mystic. Something that I did learn in church growing up. If you grew up Christian, you probably heard this a lot. They say in church, let us proclaim the mystery of our faith. And that's like a mechanism that's really adorable and lovely about Christianity, that it's like a parachute. It's like a fail-safe. It's like, I don't have to know everything. I am allowed to proclaim the mystery of my own faith. I don't know why I believe what I believe all the time, and I don't always have to. I don't have to be so certain. I just have to be confident and trust myself. I don't have to be certain about you or that person or that place. I don't have to be 100% certain. I just have to trust myself and be brave. And that's what I mean about being a mystic. I'm not a mystery to myself, and therefore it's okay if the rest of the world is a mystery to me.
Just
And then in regards to being a mystic and a spiritual person, a lot of the work I do, I work mostly with people that are trying to overcome dysfunctional family systems, immature parents, generational trauma, having narcissistic parents, and then trying to break out of those systems and out of those roles and be your real self. And then a lot of people have also had issues with spirituality and religion all tangled into that,
Mhm.
because religion can be very dominating and it's been used by government to manipulate us, and that hurts people, and then they move away from it and then they don't know how to have a spiritual practice. And I have people come to me that say, I've completely lost my faith. I'm 100% an atheist. Will you still work with me, and do you think that I can still have a spiritual life? 250% yes. The word spiritual and to feel a spiritual quality to your life, I've seen and heard a lot of different definitions of spirituality. This is the one I like the most. I can't remember the author, but I'll find it and I'll send it to you later if you want to include it, so I know who we're quoting. But basically, I like this definition of spirituality, and it's that to be spiritual and to feel spiritual is simply to recognize that to feel the feelings of wonderment and awe when you recognize that you are part of something greater than yourself. And that had, even if you listen to that definition, nowhere is the word God, source, or creator in that. If you believe in a God and a higher power and a source, cool. If you believe that being wants to have a relationship with you and you should try to have some kind of a relationship with it, okay, great. We can help you do that any way you want. It's a very personal journey, very private, very personal, in my opinion. I'm very reserved about my spiritual beliefs most of the time because I don't want to influence people one way or another. I want you to find your own spiritual connection. And if you believe that has to do with a creator being, cool. But the definition of spirituality doesn't involve that. You can absolutely have a spiritual quality to your life. As a matter of fact, I think, in my business, which is called Moon Body Wellness, I have something called the Moon Body Method, and there are 10 steps to it. And one of those steps is to develop a spiritual life. You can be a stone cold atheist or agnostic and do that because it's just about, again, that feeling of, oh my God, I'm part of something greater than myself. That can be a family, a community, a workplace, an institution, a yoga studio, a YouTube channel, the planet, the solar system. You live here on Earth. The solar system is your neighborhood. You're part of a species of this special kind of animal that's really different from any other species on the planet. I would definitely think that's enough to experience wonderment and awe, recognizing that you're part of something greater than yourself and you belong here. And the world needs you as much as you need it. So get out there and connect and be part of something greater than yourself and feel that wonderment and awe. Because that is the best feeling in the whole wide world to
It
me.
absolutely. I that is such a core pillar of mine is that I am part of something greater than myself. Like, and that's something I've returned to over and over again. And I came from a life like growing up through my into my early 20s. I was like, there's literally nothing to life. We come here, we die, we're gone. There was no belief system. And it actually took me moving here to Manitoulin Island. I did a stint back in 2009, and that was where I had my spiritual awakening. And the only way I could explain it was being where I was on this beautiful sacred land, isolated like I had never been from like family and friends, and really just waking up in my own energy and going and connecting with nature. It was that awe and wonderment. It just
Like no outside influences
oh,
from other people. You just got to connect to your own self. And there really is something to being alone, isn't there? I wish more people wouldn't be so afraid of being alone, as in by yourself, even if it's just for a few minutes every day, because you get so relaxed and you can just be your authentic self and go out and explore. I
absolutely.
love that you tapped into that
That
and
was
that you felt like you were part of something greater than yourself through that.
That's that story. That is my people talk about their awakening and when they that was when their journey began and all of those ways that we describe that moment. And that moment is when you tap into the fact that you are a part of something greater and bigger and more mystical and magical than yourself or that you could ever imagine. And it was being by myself on this beautiful land, watching the frogs and breathing in the air and sitting by the water, and I couldn't explain it then. I didn't know what it was, but it was like, "Fuck, I love me like I've never loved me before because holy, I'm a part of all this."
Yeah.
Oh, it's
And you did the right thing by going out and connecting to it. Cause I
yeah,
think the next step is feeling wonderment and awe when you recognize you're part of something greater than yourself. But I believe that we need to take it a step further and then connect and get out there in it because similar to you, a bit different. I went through a period of my life where I believed healing meant don't laugh. Okay, laugh because it's funny.
I'll laugh first.
I actually believed that healing meant being an island of a person that had no emotions, needed no one, and didn't need to connect. Emotions and love and relationships were just a sign of weakness. Yeah, I believed that for a while. I remember saying to a girlfriend once, I'd gone through a bad breakup and I was struggling with being alone. And this was like, oh God, this was like 20 some years ago. And she was like, you should do this and you should do that. And you should reconnect with your hobbies and go out with your friends. And I looked her in the face and I can't believe I said this. I still want to smack the words out of my like 29-year-old mouth at the time when I said it. I was like, oh, please. Girls' night and hobbies are for single people and losers. Give me a fucking break. I know. I'm like, yeah, man. Don't say that. I actually believed that at one point. And again, through sitting in rooms and support groups at Al-Anon, at CoDA, and then other groups that I facilitated or joined in, I recognized something. That was complete and total bullshit. And it was just my unhealed shadow side that thought it was healed and all badass bitch and all grown up. Like, I don't need friends and I don't need hobbies. And why would I do that? Those are just for single people and losers. Friends and hobbies are just for single people and losers. Give me a break.
Not the
I was
truth.
so dumb and so naive and so angry. And we're all where we are.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
I was at that time. And I remember my girlfriend just looking at me saying, I think she actually said, I think you're an asshole. She did. I needed to hear it. So I was being a total asshole about it. And that's such BS. Like, we do need to connect.
Yeah.
If you want to, my point is, if you want to feel that wonderment and awe, you have to experience yourself in connection to the other, to the elements,
Mm.
to something. You can't just look at it and see it and then not connect. Because guess what? Friends, feelings, hobbies, relationships, connectivity, being part of that thing that's greater than just you yourself, that's not just for single people and losers. That's called being a human being. And developmentally speaking, neurologically speaking, if you do not connect with others, your brain isn't going to develop and you're going to be weird and effed up and you're probably going to get health issues and we're going to die. So
I
we're
don't
not
want that.
islands.
No.
No death. Let's connect. Let's experience the wonderment and all through the connections. Like if all you can pull off that day is sitting outside and somatically orienting all around you and just staying in the present moment, not letting your mind race, not feeling pain about the past, not neurotically freaking out about the future, just sitting there looking at this 1 minute more and 1 minute more and 1 minute more. And just do that. Just connect to the elements. If you can stand it to go to some kind of a group event, you don't have to completely interact with people. Just be there. Just be there.
Mhm.
Connect. It's so important
Yeah.
to connect with life so that you can experience that wonderment and awe and feel spiritual and you feel your spiritual self. And then that's just going to lead to more avenues to healthy ego fulfillment because you need people to do that. We don't get a lot of health. We don't get any kind of ego fulfillment, healthy or unhealthy. We don't connect to other people. So
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a very important ingredient in that recipe for sure, for sure. We gotta wrap. I feel like we could keep going on, and there's so many topics that I would love to be in discussion with.
let's do it again. We can do
And I
this as many
think
times as you want.
we can definitely drop in again. But I have one more question for you, and it just ties into the end of that conversation of as we walk through our lives and we shift and evolve from different versions and we start to heal more, we start to connect more and start to find these deeper layers of ourself that provide that authentic expression and that fulfillment that we've been talking about. It takes really owning our personal truths that are different for all of us. And sometimes we're not really looking at those truths. Did you disappear? Oh, you're still there. Thought you disappeared. And
We
so
froze for a minute though, but your voice never froze.
perfect. No problem. We'll keep it rolling. So I guess the question is, what is a truth that you have had to accept and embody in order to bring yourself to where you are today and to have this level of confidence and this openness to the mystery of life? What are some truths, maybe some hard truths that in your life it was like, yeah, that's just the truth for me?
That's a good one. In human design, they say your Pluto placement and your Pluto imprint is your deep truth. I'm like, what is my Pluto placement again? That's what the solar system would say my deep, harsh truth is. But on top of that, what would I say? I think radically accepting your own limitations is like a harsh truth that, like, you have to radically accept that you're not a cyborg and that you're not perfect.
Mm.
And that doesn't sound like a hard truth to accept, but for me, it was. I was raised by two people that, God, I love my parents, but those poor people, they have some really gnarly personality disorders and some addiction issues. It is what it is. But they instilled in me through their narcissism, through that warped lens, that those poor souls, those poor lost people, one of their big problems people with NPD have is that they cannot tolerate a lack of perfection. And I think that's a bigger problem that a lot of us have. We don't realize how much we're perfectionists, that we expect perfection out of ourselves. And I had to radically accept that I wasn't a perfect person, because if you insist upon perfection, you're never going to show up because oh, I can't record this until it's perfect. I can't start this podcast until I have a perfect microphone and a perfect camera and a perfect this and a perfect that. And oh, I'm not allowed to do X, Y, or Z until I'm this or this. And that's just chasing perfection. And that's impossible. And I did not realize how much I actually did that because I was groomed and conditioned from birth to try to be a perfectionist. And once I radically accepted that it's impossible to be perfect and that it's just the dumbest idea in the world to try, and then I stopped, and it was really hard to stop. Like, it took a decade to stop. It took a decade for it to,
That's
like,
the truth.
completely stop trying to be perfect. Once I did, that's when the real me came online.
Mhm.
That's when I got to be the real me that had been shoved in a closet for a long time. Because when you grow up in a family system like that, you're not allowed to be the real you. You have to play a role, and your role is constantly changing, and they're giving you new lines from the script minute to minute. You do not know who you are. Your core self devolves, and that role you're being asked to play evolves. And then that turns into your shadow side as an adult. And then the next thing you know, you have no idea who you are, and you don't even realize that about yourself. But I didn't know until I knew. Once I stopped trying to be perfect and let myself be the real me, I was like, wow, this is so much easier. It's so much easier to be the real you. And the quality of my work got better because it made me more vulnerable.
Yeah, that
But it was a hard truth. I'm not kidding. People are like, how long did it take you to do that? 10 years. For
yeah,
real.
yeah, I'm
Better
actually
late than
still
never.
practicing. I'm still practicing.
You
There's
make it look
grant
good.
thing.
That's one thing I notice about you, Sheena, is that you show up like totally authentic. I'm like, yep, there she is, roaring in a reel, the be you guru, and she does not give zero fucks, and she is being herself. I actually think of when I think of radical authenticity, you're one of the first like colleagues or peers that I think of.
Oh, that's like
With
I
that roar you do, that Aquarian like roar that you do, I'm like, yes, that's radical authenticity. I give
oh,
zero fucks. I'm going to be me. I
yeah,
don't have to be perfect either. That just draws people in. Don't stop.
yeah. Oh,
Don't
thank
stop.
you. I'm just gonna let that land because that was a
I
journey
mean it.
too. That was a journey for me too to get to it doesn't matter. I can just show up for I've actually got to the point now where I can really notice when it shifts into, "Oh, I'm trying to be perfect here." It happened yesterday and I noticed it and then I'm like, "Whoop." And that's my immediate, "Oh, this I'm not doing this. This is not the right time to do this right now because I'm pushing for the
Yeah, because you were out of your authenticity. You just felt it.
yeah, pushing for
It's good that
perfection
you
or
could pick
perform."
that up.
Yeah, so I'm proud of myself. Like you said, it took you a decade to fully be able to like get rid of that behavior and it comes down to noticing and I'm so glad that I can notice that in myself because you are right when you say and everyone listen to this. Life is easier when you're not trying to be perfect.
And we have to stop expecting perfection out of each other, too. I'm going to quote somebody else, Dr. Ramani. She was talking about splitting and how, like, people with borderline and narcissism haven't cornered the market on splitting. Like, it's a part of our natural development to split. The brain and the body, like boxes, good, bad, yes, no, black, white. It's a foundational it's a foundational part of decision making. Do I eat this food? Do I not eat it? Is it poisonous? Or is it not? These are basics, right? But then beyond that, we split because we cannot have a holistic feeling.
Mm.
It's either all good and absolutely perfect, or it's all bad and fucking terrible. That's not a holistic feeling. And I remember I liked what she said, like, as a facilitator, she said, I don't need people to see me as a perfect therapist, just a good therapist. So I was like, yes, as a coach, which is a bit, I do therapeutic coaching. So I do a bit of therapy stuff, but I'm coaching people towards something. I help them take what they learned in therapy, those insights, and then make it happen kinetically and ergonomically in there. Let's embody it, the word embody. But you can't embody shit if you think it's all shit or it's all wonderful. Some days you're going to be wonderful and some days maybe not, but you want to find that middle ground, that line of regulation, that middle road, that middle way. I don't want anyone to see me as perfect, just good at what I do. I would say that about leadership as well. To say to the people leading you, I need you to see me as a human being. I'm not ChatGPT, so I might hurt your feelings. I have Mars in the first house, so I do sometimes say things that are not very nice. I don't mean to, but I'm not perfect. That's the point, is like we don't have to be perfect. We have to let people just be good enough. You're good enough. I'm good enough. I hope so.
You are.
I'm
You're
not
good enough.
pants, but I'm
Well,
good
that's
enough.
perfect. That's
I'm
more
kidding.
perfect in
I'm
my
wearing
world.
pants. I just like to say that in all of my Zoom meetings. Hi, I'm Carrie, and I'm not wearing any pants. Follow me for more life hacks.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, honey. Okay. So we're gonna wrap up this call. I want to let everybody know that I will have any available links of Carrie's or anything that she wants to share. I will include that in the description below so you can connect with her and see whatever she has available at the time that you're watching this video. I also want to invite you into the Embodied Leadership Collective, where me and many of the leaders on this show up, and we'll be there to hang out with you all summer. If I could just ask Carrie, and I know this might not be easy for you, but just like one final tidbit that you would leave as advice for anyone who's watching this that's teetering on that edge of radical authenticity and really owning their truth. What's one piece that you would leave them with?
Your choices are your destiny.
Let that one land. Let that one land, guys. Your
Really let it land. Your choices are your destiny. So make choices from a place of authenticity. Otherwise, you're making choices for something or someone that is not you. Be yourself and know that your choices are going to be your destiny.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carrie. Today has been just so lovely. I really appreciate you and your time.
Thank you, Sheila.
It's been so wonderful. And thank you to all of our viewers out there. We look forward to connecting with you in the next interview. Bye, guys.